Right, hello my friends, and a warm welcome back, warm welcome back to the channel as usual. Now, there's only one book haul from me for July. It's a rather large one, about 60 books. Now, I decided to split that into two videos because I'd have to whip through 60 books, so I can only manage half an hour with my method of filming. After which I have to splice, and I've no intention of splicing anything. So I'm going to split it into two, and that'll give me a bit more time to talk about each individual book, hopefully. Right, okay, first up, a few days ago, that was a purchase of mine now. This is by a YouTube pal and colleague of mine who also happens to be a writer, Gary Lavisi. This is a very handsome volume, printed on very good stock, and it's basically I would say a horror stroke mystery with a bit of gore thrown in and general weirdness, and it's written in what I would say is a pulp fiction style. Now, those genres are normally out of my comfort zone reading wise, but I do like anything that's smacks of pulp fiction, because I've read a lot of that stuff, and I've read some of this. I haven't read all of it yet, but I read some, and I've quite enjoyed it, even though it's, as I say, it's out of my comfort zone. Gary, he has his own channel, YouTube channel, and I'll talk a bit more about him later on when I show you something else. But you can purchase this from Amazon if you're into that kind of style of writing, go over there and support Gary, please. Thank you. Right, now, I had a big rant last month about me buying hardback books when I've got no room for them. I don't collect them. So I bought this. Crazy man. Right, that is a Sidgwick and Jackson second printing of Snow Queen from a few years back. I saw it's only a couple of quid. I saw it in a charity shop. It looks interesting. I like the cover, particularly like the cover. So, even though it's a bit raggy on the edges of got a bit of fox in there, a bit raggy on the edges of the slipcase. I thought for a couple of quid it might be a good purchase. Thinking about it, and then I was focused in on that. I won't be able to see it too well, but it says Dylan. A strange Dylan. Dylans normally work in tandem, but I had a look on the rest of the book, and on the inside flap, the dust jacket, it does say by Leo and Diane Dillon, so that was a no-brainer. Yeah, lovely cover, that one. Not typical of the work that I'm used to, but yeah, nice. So yeah, that was a bit of a no-brainer when I discovered who the artists were. Right, and on the subject of hardbacks, these are nice slim ones, so no problem with space here. Again, these are charity shop purchases, and they're actually comic book related. Now, I've just finished reading the entire Elric saga. Long job. There's a lot of material there, and these are basically reprints of the old, it was Pacific Comics that did a lot of these Elric stories. I seem to remember having some back in the day anyway. And yeah, there's I think there's 6 of them in total of this particular Moorcock library set. He has done a lot of the others like Hawkmoon and Core and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they only had the first 2 there. There were a fiver each, but they're all in mint condition, and they're quite expensive books. Yeah, I mean they're 20 quid books. So I thought mint for a fiver. Okay. So yeah, I bought the first 2 of those. I did ask to see if they had any more, but unfortunately that was it. And then I picked up the first 2 of this series as well. Some foreign artists there. Again, this is all original artwork. It's not reprints from the comics. And you see the first volume there. Stormbringer. You can actually buy the 4 of these in a slipcase set, but I thought, no, for a fiver each, I'll go this route and try and get the other 2 at some point. So yeah, that was number 1, and that was number 2. Yeah, I mean the artwork's quite nice inside. They are slim volumes, but you know I still didn't think they were bad for a fiver. I'd say the artwork's quite decent inside. Yeah, so that was my hardback purchases. Right, now give me 1 second while I disappear and drag this lot forward. Okay, now excuse me. Around 50 years ago, I completed my set of Ace Science Fiction Specials first series by 1. Couldn't find it at the time because it is a PBO, Paperback Original, which means it's a true first edition. And I never come across it. I had the other 36, but the 37th one had eluded me. And it's not really true to say that I've been looking for the other one for 50 years, because there was a long period when I moved out of science fiction and I wouldn't have even thought about it. But about 4 years ago when I got back in, I noticed my set of 36, and I thought, incomplete. And there's nothing a completeness like myself hates more than incompleteness. So I started looking for it again, but no luck. American prices had gone up around 100 quid if you factor in the postage, and the last few months has been a one on eBay UK for 150 quid, which, you know, to be honest, it's not, condition wise, it's not 150 quid's worth. So I just kept looking, and a couple of weeks ago now, bingo, I spotted one. I thought, hey, this is good news. Now, obviously, there are two. There's a first and a second edition. The second edition has a gold rosette on the cover with Hugo winner and blah blah. I didn't want that because all of my others are firsts, and I finally came across it. That was the one that I need. It's not in bad condition. A bit of wear down there, but you know, apart from that, it's if I give it a bit of clean up, I'm sure it'll be quite acceptable. Obviously, I had to break the bank a little bit, stretch my bank balance a bit to afford it, because that cost me 6 quid postpaid. I couldn't believe it either. I think that's probably the bargain of the decade for me anywhere on anything I've ever collected. So yeah, that finally completes my set, and very happy about that. Now, another set of books that I've started collecting recently been the women's press books. I don't know, there's just something about them. They're have a personality of their own, and I haven't read enough female authors. And so, I've got about 7 or 8 so far. I didn't actually realise there were so many of them, but there we are, we're into it now. And I found a few online for, I don't know, about £3 each, so we'll have it. Right, Joanna Russ. I've just tried to read Female Man. Couldn't get on with it at all. Packed it in after 30 pages and then 20. couldn't get into it. Couldn't understand it. Don't like her style of writing. But anyway, that's one of 3 I think she did for the women's press. 2 of them. And then there was Jodie Scott. I only know Jodie Scott because she did a book for Passing for You, and I think for DAW books. And these are not in sort of like totally mint condition, but they're certainly fine as far as I'm concerned. Even though I'm not fussed about condition on a lot of my vintage books, when I'm collecting a particular series, I do like to have them as nice as possible. So that one's okay. Now, I've never heard of this lady, Margaret Elphinstone. The painting, the cover paintings on these look fairly naive, but they have a certain charm, I find. So yeah, I know absolutely nothing about Margaret Elphinstone, but that one's in pretty decent shape, apart from a little bit on the corner there. And then there was this rather weighty tome from now I don't know how you're going to pronounce this, Joan Slonchevsky, I think. But I like that cover. As I say, they're all a bit on the naive side. But that's one of the better ones I've seen. Unfortunately, there are a few of these books that are a different size. That's one of them. Are a different size to the rest, and I like uniformity, so it's a bit annoying. But there you go. What can you do? I'd rather they all be that small size, but if I can't do anything about it, no point complaining, is there? Okie dokie. Now I had 4 paperbacks sent to me by my good friend Peter at West Coast Book Addicts. Peter gets any doubles, he normally passes them along to me, for which I thank him. Now, let's have a look at the older ones first. Yeah. Henry Cutner, it's always nice to have a Cutner book. Now, I love all these old, early 60s volumes with the Richard Powers covers. It's not the best condition one you're ever going to find, but as I say, with vintage, it doesn't bother me because, while it's nice to have a minty copy, like the ones I've kept over the 50 years, past 50, 60 years, I don't mind if they're a bit worn and red, shall we say, because that's what books are supposed to be. So as long as it's not complete and utter tat, I'm quite happy. This adds to my Paul Anderson collection. Ever since I read Tau Zero, I've been looking for some more. Now, looking at that cover, it looks vaguely, shall we say, rude, but it's not really rude, I suppose. But interesting. Panther books have either got absolutely terrible covers or very interesting ones like this. That's one of the more interesting. That Cutner I showed is from very early 60s, and this one is This one's from a bit later in '68. There again, as I say, it's not the best copy you'll ever find, but I don't care. As opposed to this one, which is absolutely mint condition. I'm a sucker for Year's Best SF books. I've got a nice little collection of the Terry Carr ones that I've had for many years. The Valentine Terry Carr ones. As I say, this one's in absolutely top-notch condition. It is a more modern book, 1998 in fact, first printing, but strangely enough, even though it's well contemporary by my adding up, it does have a lot of older stories in there, so that's an interesting one. I'll have to search out the rest of those. And then that's an American book, by the way, by Harper Science Fiction. Can't say I've got any, or not, certainly not many of theirs. Now here's one I've never heard of. I've heard of Christopher Evans, but I've never ever seen this book. Capella's Golden Eyes. Cover's not that great, but yeah, I mean this one is, excuse me, this one is from 1980. First Granada. Oh no, sorry, 82. So it falls out of my sort of like idea of vintage. I know my my notion of vintage is a lot different to other people's. For me, vintage runs up to 79, and then anything after that is contemporary. But that's a unilateral declaration on my part. A lot of other people will disagree with you, but that's how I see it. So yeah, that's just contemporary, that one. Excuse me, I'm having a bit of trouble talking here. See how that helps. Right, okay. Now we move on to the main event, which are the pickups I've had for DAW books to help along my project, trying to complete the yellow spines, all 580 of them. Now, these first 5 were very kindly sent to me by Gary Levese, who I mentioned earlier. I mentioned his book earlier. Now, Gary sent these to me all the way from New York, no expense to myself, so I thank him very much for that. You know, that's above and beyond generosity, in my opinion. Now, Gary has his own channel, as I mentioned earlier, and his channel is a boatload of videos up there, and he's an authority on all things vintage when it comes to paperbacks, magazines, pulps, and as I say, if you pop over there, if you're interested in vintage stuff, you'll find plenty of stuff to keep you going. Probably enough there to keep you going for a couple of weeks if you watch them back to back. So yeah, do visit Gary. His site is the same as his name, Gary Levese, that's Lovisi, and I'm sure he'll be pleased to see you or hear from you or both, hopefully. Okay, so these are what Gary sent me. Right, DAW number 21, Dinosaur Beach. Now, I've found that very difficult to come across. I've been looking at, because I've got a side issue going on where I'm trying to get the first 100 as a matter of priority, because those are the ones I fondly remember from my old days of collecting these. And this is number 21, so that's one of them. And it's got a cover there by Califris. So yes, I was particularly pleased with that one, as I was with this one, because this one is very tricky to find. Quest for Simbilis. Well, it's by Michael Shaw, who wrote a book, fantasy book called Niftaleen, and oh dear, price of that on eBay and elsewhere is eye-watering. But yeah, even this one, number 88, very hard to spot. So I was pleased with that for two reasons. It brings my total for the first 100 up to 99. I just need one more. And I've got a line on that from some UK seller actually. So I'm hoping to pick that up during the week, and then I'll have completed the first 100. So that was very, very welcome, that one. As was this, because it's another really tough one to find. Author Fu Manchu. Oh, by the way, that's a George Barr cover on the Simbilis. This is Jack Gaughan. Now, I'm not too fussed about the cover, but I say with Jack Gaughan, I find he's either great or not so great. I don't particularly like that, but there you go. That's number 186. Actually, I'm only 3 short now of collecting the first 200, which is even better because I do remember DAWs mainly up to about that time, the 200 mark. So yeah, that one, and I mean these are all nice spines as well. I mean that's actually a feature of the ones, and the rest of the ones I'm going to show. Well, some of the ones I'm going to show you today, and mainly all of those from part 2. The nice yellow spines. Right now, that's another one I was pleased to get, because these annual World's Best Fs, I've found them difficult to find. I managed to find a few in bits and pieces, but yeah, I'm still missing one actually. So that was that almost completed the set. That's number 192. That's another Jack Gaughan cover. Shame about all the writing. And this one, finally from Gary, is number 260 again. Lovely condition. Almost mint that one. Number 260. I'm not sure who the artist is on that one. It's not recognisable to me. And nor is the artist Richard Clifton Day. Never heard of him. Right, so as I say, that was the 5 Gary very kindly sent me. Now, also Gary's wife Lucille, she does craft work, and she very thoughtfully made this particularly for me, which was very, very kind of her. It's a bookmark up here, and you can see she's done the DAW logo there with some of the more prominent authors. So yeah, so it's a very big thanks to the Lavisi family. Thank you, Lucille. Right, now these last 4 that I'm going to show today actually came from a UK seller. It's Dorset Bob. Now you can find him online. He started doing videos with a lot of his stock. Dorset Bob is got a site of Mr. Book 451. Okay. So if you Bob's got a very large stock of books as well. So if anything you're looking for in particular, give him a shout. And these 4 I bought from him. Strickland, all times possible. Here again, I don't know. It's number 108. It's in nice condition, slightly faded, but it's fairly common. It's by Charles Gross. And now, these next two completed my set of, excuse me, Doris Pizertia books, which, again, a little bit faded. You don't see too often in the UK. You really got to search, and say there's not many of them about. It's number 241 with a cover by Michael Whelan. Very interesting cover there. And last but not, second last but not least, the other Pizertia book that I need to complete the set of hers. That's, I didn't recognise that at first, but it's actually a Kelly Frisk cover. 515, that's a much later book, but it's in lovely condition and the spine's pretty good. And then the final one I have to show you today is another late one, 498, Man Shape, John Brunner. Again, I'm not sure if the artist is there. That'd be David B. Mattingly. Yeah, quite nice. A little bit faded, but apart from that, very nice condition book. Yeah. So that terminates the first part of this mega giga haul, if you like. I will be back straight away with the second part. So do watch out for that one. And the second part is an all-door affair. Got some quite interesting stuff there. So thank you for watching, commenting, sharing and all the things that you may do. And I will see you very, very shortly. Bye-bye now.